it's Tuppence. I'm just doing a quick video to show you how I sized the text for the words on the edge of my coaster. To start with, you're going to need to measure the whole of your coaster and then the inside edge. And once you've got those measurements, you go into Cricut Design Space, grab yourself a circle, if that's the shape you're doing. You can do the same with a square. And then I'm just going to change the colour on this so that it'll be easier for me to see the difference between the outer circle and the inner. And I'm going to change that to 11.2, which is the dimensions of the whole of my coaster. I'll just move that over, and then I'm going to right click and duplicate this so I get another circle. And I'll change that colour to a lighter colour. This is going to be the inside, and I'm going to change that to 10. Now I'm going to select both of them. I'll go up to the Align button, and I want to centre them. I'm going to enlarge this a little bit so we can see what I'm doing. And this darker area, this is the edge of the coaster where we're going to want to put our words. So I'm going to go grab some text, and I'm going to keep it on the Cricut default setting. You can choose whatever font you want, and I'm just typing a random phrase. Alright, now I've got what I want. I'm going to move this over the circle and resize it because it's just too big to fit within the dark grey area. So I'm going to zoom in, and then I can place my text over that area and keep resizing it until my largest letter, which is the capital C at the beginning, until that fits quite happily within that dark zone. Just make sure I have a little bit of space above and below it. And that's looking pretty good. Yep, I've got a bit of space. So now I'm going to center that, and I'm going to go up to the curve tool, drag this slider to the right, and it's curving my text and get it roughly the right shape. Now I can check the fit, and you can see that because this is lowercase, the bottoms of the G's are hanging over that edge. So you're much better off using capital text for this. It will fit better. So I'm going to double click on it, and then I can select everything up to that C, and I can retype this as a capital letters. That's going to fit much better, and it is something you're going to have to be aware of depending on whatever font you use. And that looks a lot better, but I can still see it's a little out of shape. So I'm going to go back up to the curve tool, and I can adjust this. Now when you drag the slider, that moves that in whole numbers, but you can click on the number within the box and you can add decimals. So I suggest just keep refining this by trying out different decimals. So maybe 31.5, and you just keep adding that until you get it exactly as you want it. That is all ready now, so I could just go ahead and make it and cut this out of vinyl. But I want to show you a little hack for if you're using a very long phrase that goes all the way around your coaster. So I'll make this a longer sentence, and as I'm typing on that straight line, you can see the shadow going around the outside of that rim, and that allows you to make sure that you've got your placement right and that it will all fit within your area. If I send this to cut now, it's going to take up a lot of vinyl, and it's going to be pretty hard to transfer. So let me show you how I would do it so that I would use less vinyl and it will be easier to transfer. I'm going to move the text over to the side, and then I'll just shunt everything around on the screen a little bit. We're done with the circles, so I'll get those out of the way. I'm going to bring on a square, which is going to mimic our vinyl, and then I can show you how much you're going to save. So I'll go up to Operation, turn that to a guide, and I can enlarge that just by dragging on the edges to cover that text. So as I drag this out, make sure I cover it. You would need a little space on the sides and the top. So that's about as much as you would need to cut it if you did it this way. I'm just going to move that guide to the bottom of the layers panel, and then that will be out of my way. And then if I click on the text again and duplicate it, I'll show you how I would do this a different way and save so much vinyl. So I'm going to double click on my text, and I'm going to delete the back half of that sentence. And now I'm going to duplicate that full sentence again, double click on it, and I will delete the first half. So now I have basically split my sentence in half. I still have all the words, it's just been divided. The first half of the sentence is a little shorter than the second, so I'm going to just drag that underneath and it will fit a little better. Kind of tucks in to the other piece. I'm going to leave enough of a gap that I can get a pair of scissors in between them to split them up. And I'm just going to duplicate this guide so I can bring this over and show you that I'd use about half the amount of the vinyl. See, there's a huge difference. And not only are you going to save vinyl, but it's going to make things a little easier for when you go to apply them. When you've broken up your sentences, you do need to select both pieces of the sentence and attach them. That way they will stay in place and the Cricut will cut them as you've got them on the screen. Once you've cut your pieces, you can separate them with a pair of scissors and then just apply them as normal using transfer tape. I hope that's helpful to you and that you'll give it a go. If you've got any questions, just leave them in the comments and I'll try and answer them for you.